Welcome, good people. Welcome. Now, we're here to address these inaccuracies. There was some things said. Somebody sent me a link saying Suge Knight was coming for me. And I'm like, who? What? Why? The who, what, and why game has been going on very strong and hadn't made any sense. Karceno Night. Now, in Suge Knight's latest video, he says to podcasters that's out there making up lies or making up stories on him, tell this to him or address him once he get out of jail. Address him to his face. Well, by that time, it won't even matter no more. At that time, it won't even matter. Now, here's the thing that I want everybody to understand. And Suge Knight, if you're listening, and Dave Mays, if you're listening, I want you to understand. I'm not a Suge Knight hater. Okay. I just don't hang with dude when I was out there for the fights. I never came in there and said, hey, I need to get around Suge Knight. That's my goal. Let me get around Suge. That was never, ever in my brain. Now, that's in my brain cells. I'm a fool. Now, that could be Vlad, that could be anybody else. I just want to make it clear to Suge Knight. So, dear Suge Knight from Karceno himself, if you have any problems, like if you found any inaccuracies in anything that we said, we will gladly present all of the videos I've done after your collect calls, compared mine to yours, information for information. I point out the inaccuracies in what you were saying and a lot of these stories. Not saying that you're not telling the truth. Some of it is large in truth, but the rest has been a complete inaccuracies. Oh, Reese, don't do that. Don't do that, please. Keisha's cool, but there's agendas. There's always hidden agendas you don't see. Now, here's the notion, people. Now, I want it to be clear and precise. I was only responding. He was saying they want fame or something. I would not be mentioning Suge Knight if they weren't doing these collect calls. Suge, you don't bring attention to me. You really don't. Um, I'm addressing what I know compared to what you're saying. They sent me a clip and said, "Oh, did you see what Suge Knight said?" And I go listen to the clip, and I said, well, let me check it out." So I'll go check it out, and I said, "Well, that doesn't go with the information I know. So if you believe your information is correct and mine is wrong, that's fine. But there's people that could validate that." It's like documented fact. There's facts of what actually happened, people who are still alive that can validate it. And I would love to know what is it that I said that didn't make any sense. Now, looking back at this, yeah, looking at this is a terrible situation gone bad. I don't know who his message was for. That's my thing. I don't know who his message was for. So it could be for anybody. He said podcasters. So I don't really podcast at all. So I don't understand that message. But let's get some things clear and let's get it, you know, put in perspective because we need some type of clarity as to what's going on around here. Just so people understand it. If Suge Knight was talking about me on episode 4 of Suge Knight Collect Call, if they're talking about me, this is what needs to be said. Oh, Mav Hoffa, now he's trying to tell people what I've been saying. Well, Mav Hoffa, those guys are pretty young. So when if they remember anything, that's probably what they will remember the most. A lot of them watch my videos, so we know what time it is. Now, let's get to the gist of everything that's happening here. Um, like I said, if Suge Knight had presented this situation to us and was coming for us, I would say to Suge Knight, if you wanted me to see you when you got out of jail and say all this to your face, why you don't have the same energy for Jimmy Iovine? Why you don't have the same energy for Universal? Why don't you have the same energy for all of these major record companies? The one that stole your record company from you. Why don't you have the same energy towards the people that sabotaged your life to get you out of the position? Why you don't have the same energy towards them? Why would you want to have the energy towards a podcaster which done nothing to your life? You see, the more you talk about that situation, the more it comes to the main problem of the situation. If it was directed towards me, that's what I'm saying. I've done nothing to affect the course of your life, period. So the people that's ripped you off, the people that have wronged you, it's all laid out. So if that's the case, what could be your problem with me? The foundation is laid. You ever heard that? If you ever heard that before, then you know it makes sense. The foundation is laid. Well, if he's talking about bomb first, then it's okay. If he's talking about anybody else, is okay. I'm just saying, if he was addressing me. Well, what I'm seeing and what I witness and what I hear, I just report on. Now, y'all probably want to know what I think about episode 4. I like what him and Dave Mays is doing. That they're able to continuously do this. I don't know how long they'll be able to keep doing it because prison calls are something else. But here's the situation: Dave Mays don't really go back with the information and from week to week and say, "Hey, this is what such and such is saying about what you said," and having Suge Knight correct that. Dave Mays is not researching anything. Dave Mays is looking at this as a money grab, and that's cool for Dave Mays. You know, I don't know what happened, but my thing is, if you feeling that way, I mean, for sure, this is probably a release, because nobody get to hear him. He's in prison, so most of the stuff he gets to hear comes from what Dave Mays or somebody else is telling him. It's not like Suge's out of jail. I've had a lot of thought about the process of what they're trying to actually run and what people want to actually do. And I'm seeing a difference in the way we approach situations. They got internet in prison. Well, I guess that's how he finds out a lot of stuff, but no one could hear his voice. So he was being, his voice was prisoned right along with him. Now people get to hear him, and he's like, I'm out there in the world. So his mind is thinking, I'm free outside now. So he looks forward to these sit down sections. But there were a lot of inaccuracies told. That's the truth. Now, if he wants to go at John or Art, that's on him. I have nothing to do with that. But if he's coming in this direction, we have that laid out. If you want to go up against that, laid out information that we got, go on right ahead. I will present that to you right to your face. No problem. That's why I said if he was talking to me, if Suge Knight was talking to me about the situation, if I would say, why are you worried about me when you should be worried about Jimmy and Universal and everybody else who played a part in stealing your company? Those are the people you should be wanting to see. Well, Reggie does lie too. So there you go. Reggie make up a lot of stuff too. So for whatever his reasons may be, I couldn't tell you his motive. All I can tell you is what he's doing. Well, here's the thing. Reggie is a bottom feeder. Okay, if you give him some crumbs, he gonna come around and be eating the crumbs off the floor. That's Reggie. He'll do whatever he got to do. You see, you got to understand. P Diddy don't have a lot of parties. When y'all say these P Diddy parties, P Diddy normally attend parties, so they're not his parties. A lot of them are not his. Touchdown, Alabama. Ugh. First drive, first possession, touchdown, Bama. That's how we do it. Absolutely. My thing is set your attention towards the Jimmys and Universal and everybody else, but he really can't do that because he's in jail, because he's afraid of that power they got. Now, if he comes out and says, look, how did these people do this? How did they do that? It's true. They stole the company from him. They were like, you had the largest artist in the world who was generating this money for us, and we lost that pipeline of money dealing with you. You in charge of his safety and security, and this guy gets shot in a drive-by shooting, and people are mad, and they just had enough of death row antics and that energy at death row. And there's been many of incidents and fires that Interscope had to put out. This was just enough for them. So they chose to try to remove, the management, then said this needs to be dissolved once and for all. We got Dre. We need to put our attention into Dr. Dre. Now, one thing Suge brought up was the truth. They were talking about this. They didn't want to promote rappers saying words about Jewish people and all of this. And Suge was saying that I would never have a rapper say anything, but he was trying to stay out of jail at the time. So he was saying anything he could. And he had No Vaseline put on there, and he had Ice Cube's lyrics. Like they just scratch out the word where he says Jew, scratch that up. I edited it on the Christmas special double CD. And he was like, I'm never gonna let anybody say anything about like that ever again. Well, here's the thing about Reggie. Reggie is gonna do whatever he can to survive. He's one of those guys. The dude was kicked out of Death Row Records when he wasn't making any money for Death Row Records. He was put in charge and brags about being in charge. When you was in charge of Death Row Records, what did the company do, Reggie? The company tanked. So, well, I'm glad he aimed at Reggie or Wedgie. I'm not here to talk about like destroying the guy or whatever. The man got health issues. Uh, that's his thing to deal with. But here's the thing: like Suge and Reg ain't seeing eye to eye right now, right? But here's the ordeal: if Suge also said that Reggie and his wife plotted a plan to go out and hit Tupac and him, right? He's talking about he got a bullet lodged in his head right now. Still got a bullet in his head when we know that's not true. We still heard him say a lot of inaccuracies uh, that made no sense at all. Said him and Eazy-E negotiated a deal with Dr. Dre we were like, huh? Like a lot of this stuff just didn't make any sense whatsoever. Suge was not in the negotiations with no Eazy-E and Ruthless Records. Eazy-E wasn't in those negotiations. Jerry Heller was. Jerry Heller handled all of the negotiations. Of course, Eazy had to approve of the terms, but the negotiations were done by Eazy-E. Dre was going to have his own company called Def Row, Defraw. I mean, ROW. Def Row. But a DJ owned it. So they couldn't get it. And when he went and presented that to Suge went like, I can make that happen. I can make that possible. So he brought in Sony. He brought in Hank from Sony. And they were gonna do it. But Ice-T, remember I told y'all, Ice-T's song Cop Killer came out. And they got out of the business. Everybody got out of the way because they had a deal with Warner Brothers to get Dre his own company, and Eazy-E was gonna get 20% of the company, and Dre was gonna get 80%. And they were cool with that. Dre was cool. He's gonna have his own company over there called Def Row and whatever. But they were fighting, trying to get the name for him. Then things went left. Right? So once the Ice-T Cop Killer song came out, Warner Brothers said they done with hip hop. So once they was done with hip hop, the rest was history. The hit was for Tupac. You got people now on podcasts who's friends on that side, and they really didn't like Pac on the West. They was more in line with Orlando and all of them. So that they on the podcast talking about Orlando beat Tupac up first before they jumped him. They don't show you the clip where Orlando put the ones and twos on Tupac. Bruh, the song Cop Killer, he's talking about the song Cop Killer was not a rap song. Does not matter. Ice-T is a rapper. It was on Body Count's album. You think I don't know? I had the Body Count album. So Body Count and Ice-T had it, and they dropped Ice-T. They came after Ice-T. They didn't give a damn about Body Count, the black rock group. So they didn't care about them. They cared about Ice-T saying these words and singing the words and the lyrics. So Ice-T was getting kicked off, and they blamed hip hop and its lyrics. And Dan Quayle came. And once the vice president of the United States comes out, that means the president of the United States is coming after you. So Suge likes to insert himself in a position of importance in situations where at the time he was not. Suge became that figure, but in the beginning he was not that guy. He was a guy with some influence. But He just really didn't have it like that, especially financially. So what they wanted to do was control the narrative of what's going on because he's now the iconic Suge Knight. So once he was that, now he can create this narrative of he was the one in the negotiations. He said this person gets this person gets that. He was not. Well, he says he bailed Suge Knight out. I mean, he bailed Tupac out, which wasn't the truth. Interscope, he got Interscope to get involved, and a lot of people to saying that we'll put him with Death Row Records. So Death Row was getting a percentage, and Suge was the new manager of Tupac. So, that was the difference. Oh, another touchdown for Bama. Oh, they got a holding call that's coming back. Holding on Bama. Yeah, they wasn't finna let Bama break out like that. I saw the hold right there. Should have let go. Yep. Well, it's easy to do that on the internet because this is what 3 generations away from what happened. You got like 3 generations listening to this. Pac's been dead for 27 years. 27 years. So Pac's been gone for 27 years. And you have all of these kids who's been born since the 20s are now speaking out, right? What are they actually saying? 27 years? This is the new reality. Right. No internet, cell phones. And we got information like that. So imagine that. We got information like this. And there was no cell phones, nothing. Well, actually, at that time, I had a cordless phone. I had one that you plug in the cigarette lighter and I could work it. I had a phone, like one that I could carry in a sack, plug in my cigarette lighter. I had that in 96, 95, 96. When I could make my calls, I'm on my phone. I plug it right in the cigarette lighter. I had access. The bill was crazy though. You had to pay for the minutes you use. So if you're on the phone, you can't be all day. You got to get to your point and get off that phone quick. Oh yeah, I was the only one in the hood like that. So when anybody be like, "Oh, how you talk to somebody from the car?" I'm like, "Easy. I had a phone in the car." Straight like that, I did. I could plug it up, make my calls. Yo, what's up? You free? Yeah, I had a phone in my car. Everybody thought I was like serving. Back then, all the dealers had the backpack phones. They be like a backpack and they zip up. But not me. No, 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 sir. Death Row failed under Reggie's watch. See, here's the thing though. If Suge's information was right, like he said, it was my ex-wife and Reggie. They was plotting to do this behind my back. Now, y'all remember Suge said that before, right? That Reggie and his ex-wife plotted this whole thing to take out him and Tupac. Remember he was saying that, right? I just want you to be clear on this. Now, he said that in a statement. Hey, you won't. So, when he made that statement, the very next year, Reggie was in charge of the company of Death Row Records. He put Reggie in charge. Let that sink in. That man put Reggie in charge. Absolutely. So think about it. If he put Reggie in charge, if he put Reggie in charge, all this time, all this stuff that was going on, and he said Reggie was this and Reggie was that. If Reggie was the guy that was doing that, why in 97, you in jail, Reggie is the one you choose to run the company? It wouldn't make sense, would it? I don't know who that would make sense to. But that definitely didn't make any sense to us. Not to us at all. Well, I'm going to tell you what. Check this out. And we'll come back and have this conversation. We're going to let y'all see.
Once again, problems ensue. So you guys all know the falling out. So there was a meeting between Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, and Jerry Heller. And they talked to Dre about it. And Dre wanted to leave. He was like, I don't want to work with Eazy no more. Man, he ripping me off. I want my own thing. So Eazy's like, F him. F Dre. If he want to leave, let him go. Eazy was at that point. So he said, you know, you my boy, you think I'm ripping you off? You executive producer of everything. He's like, you not just listed as the artist, you the executive producer. You didn't even know you got checks in the mail, in your mailbox. You had all this money in your mailbox, and you sitting there thinking people ripping you off. How you gonna let somebody with no money tell you about your money? That's how Eazy-E was thinking. How are you letting somebody who don't have nothing tell you about your money? So at this point, Suge was blocked from coming to the studio because he was just causing division. So he said, Sugar can't come back to the studio no more. I don't want him hanging around out here. He ain't got no purpose. So Dre was mad. Well, Suge can't come, then I can't come. That's dead right. You did right. So they decided we finna work on a deal to get Dre his own, his own company. So when they had this meeting, they told Dre, we gonna get you your own company. He was, word? Yeah, so you don't never have to be with Ruthless no more. You can go to another company. Easy on 20%, you own 80%. Yeah, that worked. Yeah, I like that. So Eazy was willing to let everything go so that they could own all of that percentage. 20% of Dre's company. Or whatever Dre is doing, he's gonna own 20% of that label, right? So now, no, Dre never checked his mailbox. Yeah, he didn't even know where the mailbox was. I don't have a mailbox. That was his answer, actually. Because Dre never did all that stuff. And he had checks galore sitting in his mail. Talking about he ain't been paid in months. So he found the checks. Then he was, oh, we good. So, Dre will never tell you about these things that went down. Now, here's the next scenario. The next scenario that went down that you need to know about. So this deal was going down, and Irvin, his name, Irwin Azor, and the guy named Mo, I forgot Mo's last name, but Mo was involved. And they were interested in doing a deal with Dre. And they worked over there at Warner Brothers, I think Sire Records, and that's where Ice-T was. So they was with Warner Brothers, and Dre was gonna have his own label over there. So at that time, Cop Killer song was getting national attention. It was taking off like a rocket in a negative way for Ice-T. Ice-T was huge after New Jack City and everything else. But now that they got this, it's a big problem now. It's a huge problem. Cop Killer is not dying down. The noise is incredible. So as everything starts to develop and get more insane, you're having new scenarios represent and stand up for itself. And this whole equation of things. Absolutely. So no, he did mention his name. He said Eric, Eazy, he call him Eric. As he calls Suge Knight, he always calls Suge Knight Sugar. He never called him Suge, he called him Sugar. So now, as they're doing this deal, Dre wanted the company to be called Death Row. DEFROW. So Death Row came up from Dr. Dre. Way before, who knows if Suge told him to name it that. He was still cool with Suge. But Dre told him he wanted the company to be called Death Row. DEFROW. But somebody else owned that name. It was a DJ that owned the name Death Row. So that was going to create a problem. And they would have to get the name and come up with something else. So while they was doing this negotiation with Warner Brothers, the Cop Killer song came up and Mo pulled out. He got out of the hip hop business altogether with rap and hip hop. Mo was like, "We out. Warner Brothers is out." So they was like, "Warner Brothers is out." It's like, yeah, we're this whole thing. The president got involved. The vice president that made his speech on hip hop and rap and violence. So that's it. We're out. So when Dan Quayle made that speech, they all got out of the business. They just got out completely. They said, "Hey, we need to get out of this thing." So Jerry Heller did the negotiation because he represented Ruthless Records, which owned Dr. Dre. So there's no deal that was going to be done that Jerry Heller wasn't going to be in there negotiating. That was his job. Mm-hmm. So that once that fell apart, Suge told Dre, after looking at what the deal was offered, he was like, "Man, I could get you a better deal. See, I could take this right here. See what they offering you right here? This ain't even right. See, you giving all the control to Eric. Say you want to do something, Eric gonna stop it. Look, I got my guys over there at Sony. They finna come over here and take a look at this." And Hank Gatherson was over there at he was over there at that time. So Hank decided he was gonna take a look at it. And Steph Johnson was over at Interscope. So Steph came through and said, "Sony ain't gonna give you what you want." They brought Hank to the table. So Hank went to try to negotiate a deal, but Sony wasn't too keen on, these are unknowns. So Sony's like, we're too established to be associating ourselves with an unknown character like Suge Knight and Dr. Dre, going down this with all this heat that's coming down with this Ice-T song, Cop Killer. Sony was like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. These are the guys who got a letter from the White House. Like, I don't know if I want to even deal with this situation. So you look at that, then you look at the other situation that's developed, right? You got a Step that says, "Hey man, we got Jimmy Iovine, Interscope. They want to do it, Suge." So Suge went and got Jimmy Iovine, who was interested in Dr. Dre. Interscope did not have the muscle they have now. They had no hip hop records, period. They were doing all hippie records at that time, like Janis Joplin type music. They were low budget, low money, everything. Interscope was not the powerhouse they are today. So when Jimmy Iovine got involved and really wanted to get the deal done, he wanted to have Dr. Dre. He wanted that sound. He needed something to be the kick. So when he did that, that was his goal. He said, go ahead, do your thing, and then go. You know, go. Just do your thing and go. Yeah, hit the like button, good people. So Step Johnson brought Jimmy Iovine and Suge. Suge talked to Step. Step brought in Jimmy. Jimmy Iovine talked to Jerry Heller. And he said, Jerry, Dre's not, he's like, I can't tell you that, but in my belief, Dr. Dre isn't going to record anything else for Ruthless Records. And Jerry Heller says, I believe that too. He's like, I'm not going to buy a lawsuit with you. Like, I'm not going to go ahead and try to buy out a lawsuit because Ruthless Records sent out torturous lawsuits. Once the extortion he tried to say, man, if we can just get Dre out of this contract with Easy and Suge just took the street way of, I'm going to make him sign it under duress. But this ain't Vanilla Ice. This Eazy-E. You ain't just going to have Eazy-E do that. He's a businessman. So when he filed in court, in lawsuits, saying that this has happened, they had multiple lawsuits for torturous interference with their artists. They had it where they were going to go to court. Suge couldn't even be allowed to do any business with Dr. Dre, ever. If Eazy would have took this to court, Suge Knight would not have been allowed to do business with Dr. Dre on any project whatsoever up and down. Not one deal. So you're looking at the whole scale of things.
So let that sink in, good people. So when Suge said what he said, that's what I'm saying. If that was definitely for me, which now you guys have informed me that it's clearly that they were talking about Bomb First and Reggie without saying their names. But if if there was something incorrect that was said there, the people that I've mentioned are still alive. You can contact those people, talk to Mo, talk to Step, talk to all of these people that is alive that was involved in that negotiation of that deal. Ted Fields did not negotiate with Jerry Heller. Step was a very unique individual, but he did not negotiate with him. As I told you, I did the live stream covering this. They just didn't tell you about it. Now, I knew that was a forward pass. Like, how can you not recognize where you are on the field? I think Alabama turned it up in the second half. Ted Field's daughter liked Tupac, so that's why Ted decided to sign him and give him a deal. Plus, he was featured with Digital Underground. Tupac, if he didn't get a solo deal there, Tommy Boy Records wanted to do a deal with Tupac. So there was a lot of other companies that would have given him a record deal. It's just that there's um, a lot of story that's told behind it. Like, oh, if it wasn't for this girl, Tupac would have never gotten a deal. And he was like, no, that wasn't the case. When he was featured on Same Song, and he was already in negotiation for getting a deal when they heard that he could actually rap. Tommy Boy was finna give him a deal. Tommy Boy Records. They were gonna make Tupac an offer for a rap deal. But they tell you these brilliant stories so that people will believe them. That's why these documentaries are not 100%. This is why we often try to tell people, when you see these actual like videos that pop up. Thank you, Jeffrey. Actually, my auntie, the one that worked with Rick James and performed with Rick, did his hair, everything, she's actually here. She's not here right now, but she's in town. She's been staying with us for the holidays. She came and spent Thanksgiving with us. She did Rick James' hair. She got a million Rick James stories. She was in George Clinton's band. Uh, Now they split, so now they the P Funk Experience. They're gonna be in New Orleans. No, they're actually not gonna be in New Orleans. I think they're gonna probably be in DC, where all the jazz bands from New Orleans and the rock bands, they're gonna be there performing. So the P Funk Experiment is gonna be there. So yeah, she still performs. She just performed with Snoop. Yeah, I told you my cousin did Rick James hair. George Clinton hair, all the red and stuff. She does all of it. And she's in the band. Well, it wasn't that he turned down Tupac. It's the fact that he just didn't feel the thug life thing. Like he could have had thug life. Uh, but Easy just felt like, nah. He wanted Tupac to be a member of Above the Law. That's why when Pac's on the song with Above the Law, Pac wanted to put them together and like put Tupac on there with Above the Law. Tupac was trying to create another group so he can get more money. Tupac knew that this wasn't an ideal situation for him. Yeah, he knew. Many of us didn't realize a lot of the stuff that was going on back in the days if you was listening to the music and wasn't in tune to what was actually happening. Because remember, there was no internet, there was no anything at the time. So with no internet and no anything going on, all people had to go by was what they could see. You know, he thinks he got it from the alcoculture. He think he got it from a lot of different angles, a lot of different things, right? No. As I explained to a lot of you, when you see a lot of these things start lining up in a row, you start to see a problem. Like this is a major problem, setback the whole situation, right? Mm-mm. Suge Knight didn't. He was been dishonest about Jewel. He has been inaccurate about Jewel. Rather, he's been inaccurate about Dr. Dre owes him money. He's been inaccurate about Warren G. He didn't know Tupac. How he was gonna bail Tupac out? He ain't had no money. It's a lot of inaccuracies that was told. Warren G had more relationship with Tupac than any of those guys. Tupac second CD, Warren G produced like 3, 4 songs for him. Easy. My definition of a thug, like all of that, man. Come on. Well, they all been telling lies. No, when somebody's telling the truth, I'll admit it. When somebody is telling some inaccuracies, I'll admit it. we don't have those. We don't have those like innuendos. If somebody's telling the truth, I'm gonna tell you, hey, they telling the truth. Somebody's lying, I'm gonna tell you, hey, they lying. Now let's take a look at Daz. Y'all remember when Daz said this?
Come on, man. Yeah, I know you got your agenda, Snoop. Somebody hooking you up. That's the only reason you would, clam up with something like this was said. When you know damn well it's true. You was lying, B.
Sign him. Dang, he just.
Yeah. No.
TMZ got a nigga picture up there. Suge Knight saying something about doggy style. Hey, Dr. Dre is the best producer in the world. I did not have nothing to do with that. Dr. Dre did that on his own. Suge Knight is lying. I ain't signing him. Dang, he just covering shit up because everything that Snoop and him has uncovered in the death row unveiling of all the business, the shady shit that E1, Alan Grunblatt, LaFette, and what they was doing, and how they were still in cahoots. Shit, man. So he's just making it like that, all that. He's gonna go, I put my hand up to the street. Beat him up.
So right there, he's trying to say that Suge is lying about him writing songs for Dr. Dre. I remember watching Daz over the past 3-4 years complaining about how he had to sign away all his revenue coming from Daz himself about the songs he did, and he didn't get the credit for it. So how in the world was Suge not lying when it was exactly the truth?
Now, that's me telling you he was telling the truth on that. Daz was producing the beats for the Doggy Style album. Daz is saying that because he mad at Suge.
So he's like, man, he trying to stop what we got going on here. That's from Oklahoma. Death Row Records wouldn't have survived. See, the problem was they were imploding from the inside. They weren't seeing any money right away. When you listen to the Dr. Dre and Daz and all those guys on the radio show with Eazy-E, and Eazy-E told them what? You got the wrong food. Daz, have you made $1 million? Daz, so what? Call us when you sell 1 million records. DOC was going back to Ruthless Records. See, they didn't want to tell you about that. Doc was mad he wasn't getting any money. Now, Daz responded to Suge Knight's podcast. I don't know how many of y'all saw it, but Daz responded to the podcast.
Daz and the rest of them, they did a song with one of the niggas from that side who was in the car.
This motherfucker got dementia.
Shit.
That nigga Suge Knight got dementia. He in jail just making up shit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck you in jail knowing that somebody did a song. We ain't did a song. He's from Long Beach. What are you talking about, nigga? You got dementia. He can't even say who did the fucking song.
Get the compilation.
The
compilation was that nigga Dre, or whatever his name is.
You don't even know who the fuck that is, nigga.
That's that.
Making up shit. Suge Knight got dementia, y'all.
Suge Knight got dementia, y'all. So what he's actually trying to say here and what they're actually meaning in the situation is two entirely different things. What Suge's trying to say is that you doing songs with somebody who was in the car. He's trying to speak in code of connection. I know what Suge is trying to do, and I know what he meant by what he was saying. What he was saying was y'all did songs with Diddy. Diddy is attached to Keefy D. So y'all did songs with Diddy. And Diddy's attached to Keefy D in the situation. That's what Suge Knight meant. Mm-hmm. That's what that whole thing was about. No, Warren G had his money because Warren G was paid. See, this is what people don't understand. And I told him about the deal with Warren G. Warren G wasn't just an artist who performed for Def Jam. Def Jam gave him a creative deal. He was producing beats. He did Slick Rick's album. He was giving them West Coast sound. They wanted some of that West Coast sound. They was trying to get Snoop signed over there. Snoop was trying to get out of Death Row back then. Suge came there and shut this shit down. Because Snoop wasn't under contract when he was on the Chronic. They only had really one song recorded with him. They never did that because they never finished Snoop's deal. But Snoop had this trial coming up. No, that's what he meant. He needed for that to be the end all be all of the situation. That's all. He needed it to be the end all be all of the situation. Well, you're looking at situations that are what we call indifferent. Indifferent situations are looked at from different situations, like different points of view. I'm so tired of talking about the night all this stuff went down. It's like Reggie Wright and all these dudes, they're stuck. They're stuck in 1994, 95, 96, and 97. Every story
of Reggie Wright is damn near 96, 97. He can't get past 97. So it's like, how many times are we finna hear about 1996 and 1997? I'm just like, can we move forward? Yeah, that's true. Dre did. I mean, he produced Gin and Juice. I think Daz did that, and Dre mixed it. What Dre put on the song makes the song pop. Like Daz had that dun 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 dun. Dre added that. Now, Dre made that pop. Dre added the parts that made it pop. Mm-hmm. Well, oh yeah. So shouts out to everybody, man. We gonna get up out of here. We got the fight coming up. We got everything finna jump off. So I got a lot coming for y'all. So stay tuned. Shouts out to Kwame Brown, Buzz Life, Armando Black TV, Ticket TV, the whole kid and caboodle. I'm out.